Chris Trump for KojiPop.com, and welcome to our monthly video retrospectives as we look back at August 1984, and 30 years ago this month as we're recording. As is typical for August, a very, very quiet month. Hot outside, but cold on the inside of the video games industry. So just 3 games to look at this month, and first we've got Pac Land, which came out to arcades in August of 1984 by Namco. This wasn't exactly the sequel to Pac-Man, because we've already had Ms. Pac-Man by now and a whole bunch of other derivatives and mods of the original arcade cabinet. But this was kind of the height of, or maybe just past the height of Pac-Man fever. We'd had the lunchboxes, we'd had all the merch at this point, and this was when the Hanna-Barbera Pac-Man cartoon was doing the rounds on Saturday mornings, and so Namco produced a game that was loosely based on the animated show. So rather than Pac-Man being the Pac-Man that isn't unsettling, instead we've got this weirdly anthropomorphized fellow. He's a ball with a face and horrible arms and a hat. Ooh, he just looks weird. And the idea here is, believe it or not, you've got to transport a fairy under your hat to Fairyland and then go back home. You probably had to watch the cartoon or something. Still, the music's cheery enough, and yeah, basically this is a sort of platformer, as you can see here. Not really a platformer, almost in a way, a bit like the endless runners of iPhone games today. Rather than jumping on platforms, it's kind of about avoiding enemies. Although you have direct control of your character, you know, he doesn't auto-run. And there's a few nods to Pac-Man as it was, you know, as you can see here. Like, there's a bit where Pac-Man grabs a power pellet and then he's able to chase away ghosts and gobble them up for extra points, but really not much doing there. This kind of really rode the wave of funness for Pac-Man, and was probably a bit of a step too far in that regard. It wouldn't be long before Pac-Man went back to his original self, albeit in isometric 3D form and all the rest of it. Just kind of a really weird game. Notable in some respects, depending on who you listen to, this is either the first, or I believe one of the first, games, or horizontally scrolling games, to have parallax scrolling. So you can see as Pac-Man's walking along here, different elements of the background, be it the clouds in the background or the buildings slightly closer to Pac, are scrolling at different speeds, which gives the illusion of depth. And not many games at the time were doing this, but pretty much it would be, you know, very, very soon it would be all the rage in arcades, and then all the rage back home of how many layers of parallax scrolling a game had. But that's pretty much all that Pac-Man is noted for. So let's move on to some typical summer activities. Let's play some sports. 1984 was an Olympic year, and that meant we got Olympic-themed video games this month, including this, Daley Thompson's Decathlon on 8-bit micros, Spectrum C64 and the like. This was the most famous to sort of British players at the time, for all the wrecked keyboards and on Spectrum version, and all the wrecked joysticks on the C64 version. Loud music! Thank you. Presentationally, you may be reminded here, just in the name entry and on the presentation of the game here. Whoops, so run through that and that one as well. You may be reminded of track and field. Better known to Japanese players, who was only available in Japanese arcades at the time, as Hypersport, which was doing well in Japanese arcades at the time. That's because that's effectively what this game is. It's another rip-off by Ocean, much as they ripped off Burger Time and called it Wimpy, or Mr. Wimpy. Here we have a bizarrely... Jeez, stop that music, my goodness. A bizarrely incredibly pale Daley Thompson here, participating in Olympic sports that I'm always very confused. In a very Konami styled game. It was a complete sort of Konami ripoff, really. No. Yeah, certainly it's. I always find these games incredibly difficult to get down pat, and it's especially difficult, I think, on a keyboard. Did it? I did it. He got over. Yay! He's very happy. Still very pale. Jeez, Daley Thompson, not looking good. Pole jumps especially difficult because you land on your feet. Oh no. Especially difficult because you need to be. Jeez, stop it. Oh. Ooh. Eesh. I don't know why it's day 2 either. Yeah, that was especially difficult because you kind of have to, without any visual cues, hit the button. It's kind of the same here a little bit. But this is, yeah, I don't know whether these sports are actually decathlon sports or not, whether they're just track and field sports, but an absolutely very, very clear track and field ripoff. The events included, the way they're handled, it's kind of unashamed. But, oh, I qualified there, look. I have no idea how well I did on the other ones, but... I have to stop every few seconds to be interrupted by that music, and otherwise incredibly silent game. Yeah, but I mean, it's the same stuff. It's like hammer the keys to build up speed, and hold the button to set angles and things like that. Are we going to make it? I don't think we are. Just stop slightly short. That was close though. Let's do it again. And it just builds up an unhealthy amount of RSI in the wrist here. Damn. It's not particularly responsive either. But such is the issues with a Spectrum game. It was a really high angle. That wasn't a good throw at all either. But yeah, this was incredibly popular at the time. I think mainly because of the popularity of Daley Thompson as an athlete at the time. He did earned a gold medal in 1980 and would earn another one in 1984. So he was somewhat of a national hero, and a game would be a natural extension of that. But I'm clearly unable to live up to his legacy. Maybe he was pale the whole time in shock at my terrible performance. But yeah, that's Daley Thompson's decathlon for you. Well, the pitfalls of there only being about 3 games that came out in August of 1984 is that we have to cover license trash, like this, Dangermouse in Double Trouble. This was a game based on a kids' cartoon show that kind of had cult popularity amongst, I suppose, kids and grown-ups too, kind of the My Little Pony of its day. I think it was just slightly before my time. My older brother was super into it, but this just really not my bag as a cartoon, and well, as a game, jeez, not really a great one. Your typical sort of generic license fare of, well, we're going to make a sort of collection of minigame things. Here, your Dangermouse in his car flying somewhere towards the jungle. You got to avoid these things, and his gun shoots automatically, and there's like this, so he's shooting musical notes. I don't really get it. There's things and drills and ducks. I don't think this was in the TV show. There's a bizarre 3D view in the corner that looks really scary. And, oh, yeah, right, we're onto it now. So now it's kind of gone Pitfall-esque. Oh, no. You gotta hop on the back of the note. No. This, as far as I could tell, infinite lives, but you're kind of, it's a race against time. You gotta jump over stuff. Jump. No. Don't get hit by a leopard or something. This, as was, hey, I'm winning though, as was typical of the age, kind of a, jeez, rather than, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing here, rather than make a specific game, it's like, well, a bunch of game ideas that were sort of floated about, and then, well, we have this license, so you have to turn this into a Dangermouse game. For whatever reason, incredibly shallow, incredibly uninteresting. Did, you know, make it onto, I have no idea what's going on here. I think it's supposed to push these buttons, I guess? Alright, hey, I've saved the world. Just, wow, brilliant. Well, there you go. That was, I didn't anticipate this to be a long play of Dangermouse in Double Trouble, but we have finished Dangermouse in Double Trouble in literally 3 minutes. You can do it again. So that's what we're doing now. Jeez. Yeah, a pretty terrible game from August 1984, but one that was featured prominently on the cover of Computer Video Games magazine this month. Yeah, bizarrely enough, it was just, oh hey, we've got this giveaway of the game and advertising all over the place, so here you go. Ooh, heck, good grief. I know that's Penfold with Dangermouse. I've seen like a couple of episodes of this, but that's about as much as I have seen. Now do the whole thing again. So it is a little bit harder this time, so it's going for that arcade style feel, but still, yeah, an early example of even during the day, the money hat thing of magazine cover, exclusive, and competition giveaway equals high review scores, shock horror, but this was just awful. So not a great way of ending August 1984, but hey, we're heading towards the autumn, so there was more exciting things, there were more exciting things on the horizon. But yeah, one of them wasn't Dangermouse. So that's August 1984, kind of a brief one really. For more on video game happenings in the summer of 84, 94 and 2004, check out the full retrospective written feature on kaijupop.com. In the meantime, thanks for watching, bye, don't play Dangermouse, it's rubbish.